So we'll figure out an intro song when we get famous. But this is the intro
I've really been
for
framing
right
this
now.
as a conversation, and I really like that framing. I think that's just the way to do it. This is a dedicated conversation for us.
Oh, you didn't want to do segments? Shit.
What
Like
do you mean segment?
podcast segments? Like we're going to talk about this for the next 15 minutes and then we're going to talk about that.
Oh, we can.
No, I'm just teasing. I'm not going to do
Oh,
that.
you're killing me, Rock. Jesus.
Um, I do want to know. I
Well,
think
you have
it makes
to.
sense to start with your thoughts.
Well, I think I think it needs to start with you at least describing what we're listening to, what
We
we
are
have listened
listening,
to.
what we have listened to. We have listened to. I have listened to this song or this album probably 1,000 times over the last 10
Really?
years.
Okay. So yeah, it
You
came
have
out.
listened recently
Three. I think I made probably 2.5 listens.
to The Midnight Organ Fight by
Frightened
Private
Rabbit.
Rabbit, which should we do visuals here? We
Well,
can
yeah,
get a
if you want to,
little
I could,
we can get
if
a little
you, I
share
could,
screen on
if
here. If
you,
you want to do like bring it, it's like in Joe Rogan where they're like bring that up.
what's that guy's name? Jamie
I
and Joe
don't know
Rogan?
because I don't listen.
Sadly, I know the answer to that. Okay, what's
The Midnight Organ Fight, which
Oregon fight?
came out in 2008, so it's an old ass album in my opinion.
How on earth am I going on Spotify? I'm really doing this poorly. Okay.
It's fine. And so you listened to it 3 times.
Yeah, let's pull this up. Let's get a visual. Just a quick little thing. Everyone can see my Spotify.
For the record, the conceit here for the listener
Yeah.
is that we are looking to look back at old
Mm,
albums, and we're starting with like really old albums, things that are just like important in our lives. And so this is one that came to mind as a important in my life album.
okay.
Um, and I did not know about it in 2008. So this came out well before I
Hmm.
listened to this kind of music. Um, I think the first time I listened to this whole album was in 2018. So I lied a little bit earlier when I said a
Oh,
decade.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
Just looking here. So I did notice like one of the most popular songs of theirs, or a couple of them are on this album. I noticed that.
yeah.
Um, okay. So I'll stop sharing here.
So
Okay,
your thoughts then on your first 3 listens? No, I'm given the idea that you know this is important to me, so don't say anything hurtful.
so I listened through once, and it was at a good time. We had come up with this idea. You picked the album. I was going on a walk, and I thought, okay, this is a good time to do this. It was a good fall day. Went through the park, threw it on, and gave it a good listen and took notes through. And I, the overall thoughts are just for some reason, this type of music is not the one that I'll immediately like.
Hmm.
For sure, 100%. I think I was really trying to go through it. I think there were a couple that really got me. My overall thoughts, kind of looking back at my notes, were I loved all of the things happening in the songs. And I think for me, a big like sticking point is that voice. Like I have a
I
hard
was
time.
just gonna ask you if it's because he's Scottish.
No, okay, so that was actually one of the comments I had. Like partway through, I was like, "Is this guy Irish?" Like I thought for some reason I heard Irish.
No, he's
No,
Scottish.
it's the like
Sorry, he was Scottish.
he
We're gonna get
was
to that
Scottish.
later.
Oh yes, we will for sure. Because I'll tell you about my journey too.
Okay.
It's just this like I perceive it as this whiny thing, and it's that like it's that. Who else is similar? I'm trying to think. There's others that are similar. What's the This Year song?
The Mountain Goats.
That like I do you hear like that at all in the
Meaning
voice?
just the character of their voice, like just what their
Correct.
voice sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they were a different singer, this would have checked a lot of
I
boxes for
think
you.
so. Well, I don't know about checked a lot of boxes.
You just said I like what's happening in the songs.
That's
Is that
okay.
true or
So
not?
it is. I was listening to it and I was like, oh, I really like what's happening a lot. Okay. Those are my thoughts through it as I'm kind of doing this deep listen. Go
Uh,
back through the second time. Again, it was on a walk in the morning. More like a 6 out of 10. First time was more a 4 out of 10. I
and
was
at this
like,
point, you're like, why did I agree to this shit?
No, because at this point, then I'm starting to really expand it because I'm really trying to dig into, is it just the voice? Why is it? I was really thinking like overall about music and taste and just the thought that, it to me it feels like
Wow, you like immediately went like 1,000 foot view on this. That's
yeah, I
crazy.
think because I wasn't digging it, because I wasn't like, oh,
Okay.
I need to go back to this thing. So it really started getting me to think like, okay, yes, this is important to Rocco. There's all that. Anywho, but I would say all this to say like some songs that had come out that I distinctly wrote. Poke, I enjoyed Poke.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I love that.
that was the one that I kind of kept coming back to. Oh, Keep Yourself Warm. I liked that. Um, I think
Blowing my mind right now. Okay.
Modern Leper, I think, was a solid one in the beginning. I think it opens nicely. Um, those are the one. Oh, and at one point I had written Good Arms and Bad Arms,
Okay.
but I do not remember that one recently. Today I re-listened to Poke, and I was like, yeah, I get it. Because anyhow, so those are. What else did I kind of say?
I mean, it's a long album.
You think
Right.
so? What would you consider long?
Well, first of all, there's 14. We just see there was 14 songs. Now
14
two of
songs,
them are
48
like,
minutes.
yeah, that's pretty long. That's pretty long.
Okay. All right.
I don't think it's like marathon long, but it is on that long. It's on the long spectrum.
Mhm. Mhm.
Which, if I'm being honest with you, this is a 9 out of 10 album for me. And the
Wow.
reason it's not a 10 out of 10 album is because it's 48 minutes and not 38 minutes.
Hmm.
And I feel like I don't know what you would cut, to be totally honest with you. Like, actually do have one or two thoughts on that when we go through the tracks. But it's hard to say, let's like shave off 10 minutes of this album, but it does feel a little long to me. It does feel like it overstays itself at some point in like the middle third or somewhere about 60, 70% of the way in, you're like, all right, let's wrap this up. But then it gets good at the end again, is my experience of it.
So that's interesting that you could, is like, when you think about it, to have this. So what I mean by that, what I'm trying to get to is, if you just listen to it for the first time, you wouldn't have those thoughts because you couldn't possibly have the thoughts like, oh, in the middle third, it is
That's
a little
true.
long. But you're right, like you've now listened to it that overall you see. So maybe a question to you is like, do you see it as a, yeah, how do you see it? Because that was something I kind of thought of was like, why would someone go gravitate towards this album? To me, it didn't feel like a story per se that I was getting out of it. Um,
Um,
yeah,
I
so I'm
want
kind of curious, like
to.
what, so maybe this is a good segue into what gravitates you towards this album.
So the first thing is to say that, and this is where I want your feedback. You know, I am not a lyrical heavy
Correct.
person. I think this is possibly the most lyrical heavy narrative album that is of my favorites. Um, I don't tend to love music that's like this, where it's like part of the good thing is the story, and if you're not into the story, then it's just a Scottish guy yelping, which I think is maybe what
Yelp is a
happened to
good
you. I
word.
don't know.
Yelp is a good word for it, I think.
To be clear, I like his voice, but I understand what you mean. Is it's like it's not polished. It's not like pretty, I
Yeah.
guess. Um, it is a little whiny, but I like whiny music, so what can I tell you? But this is like really narrative driven. So to me, it's like these lyrics are incredible, and the songwriting of these songs
Mm,
is incredible. And mostly that's what I'm here for. I like the tracks that you just talked about there, Poke and Keep
keep
Yourself
yourself
Warm,
warm.
are actually two of my least favorite
Whoa.
because they're boring songs. They're like slow, but lyrically, I get why they're good. Like,
Hmm.
I understand they tell a really good story and are like emotionally important to the arc of the album. My favorite part of this album is the first four songs. Like, Modern Leper, I think is pretty much close to a masterpiece as far as like single song goes.
Wow.
What are you laughing for?
No, it's just like it's so not in my masterpiece world. Like I would never think of it in that realm.
So
It's
here's what I love
fascinating.
about it.
Yeah.
as I mentioned earlier, this album came out in 2008. I think we were like is that like sophomore in high school,
15. Yeah, maybe
something like
sophomores or
that.
so. Yeah.
I did not listen to this kind of music at that time. I don't remember what I did listen to, but I wasn't into like indie rock that you'd have to find on like, you know, Pitchfork or like a Reddit thread or something. I did hear the Modern Leper. I want to say like three or so years later, so maybe like 2011 or so in our as we
Okay.
were about to graduate going into college. That was the first time I heard the Modern Leper and immediately loved it. I think it's just one of those songs that like a musically it has this like it's almost like a cyclical build. Like it keeps coming back to building
Hmm.
and then it like retreats a little bit and then it builds again and then it retreats a little bit and then it builds again. And it almost gets to this point where at the very end it's just like you you reach kind of it's a crescendo that's not a crescendo, right? It's like there's no one moment that makes you go like they finally released, but they've been building up the whole time that it feels like now we're just like, you know, we're getting to like this cathartic moment at the very end. So I like that about it musically. I like the fact that it's like really acoustic at the beginning, and then it's like we're turning on the electric guitars at the end, and we're serious now. And then lyrically, like it's a song about feeling like you can't be loved, basically,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Like it's a song about feeling less than. And as senior year high school Rocco, like nothing could have hit better than that, right? Like it's
That
just
makes a lot of
about,
sense. Yeah.
yeah, it's just
And that
like,
definitely comes through. I definitely got this sense. You're like, it's emo is not the right word for it because I don't think it does respect to it in a way. Like it's like the whininess that with the voice does not carry over into the lyrics, like you're saying. Kind of like
right,
it's definitely more profound than that. Like that you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense to me.
right.
Sure. Okay.
Like this is a person who just sees themselves as
Yeah.
there's something about me that's missing. There's this
Mhm.
imagery about literally being a leper and having like missing a leg, and then you lose that leg, and now you don't have anything to stand for. Like, there's
Hmm.
all that crazy, weird imagery. And to me, that just like, I don't know, I always like was able to um, connect to that and just sort of see, like, I understood the narrator. The rest of this album keeps that same narration to me. And like it's the same guy throughout. And I think that's
Mhm.
maybe what you dislike about it is like it's the same kind of like guy who's just like, like I'm not full, you know? But it it
Hmm.
it expresses itself in different ways throughout the album. Like you see that in different ways depending on what the subject matter is later on. And the other thing is it's just a breakup album. Like this
Hmm.
is just narratively about losing somebody or somebody it's not working out and then by the end you're just like, that's one of the reasons why I think Poke is a great song is like narratively, lyrically to end an album or to get close to the end of the album with that and then being like, you know, looking back at somebody who I think one of the lines is like in Poke is like um, if you looked at a picture of us now, people would need to be told that
Hmm.
we aren't related. Like there's no idea that these people have any history together anymore. Like they're just total strangers now, and you
Hmm.
couldn't tell because we don't have that affection for each other anymore. And I just think that's kind of like a fascinating way to describe like people becoming strangers after they were much more than strangers for a long time, you know? It's like at some point you just become two separate people again, and I don't know, cool stuff going on. You see that journey from Modern Leper of guy who is like scorned for some reason by this partner, and then you get all the way down to Poke, which is just like we're strangers now, and that's sort of the end of this
Hmm.
story, right?
I can get that. Yeah, it does. Okay, I like that. It's interesting. You're saying all these things that just it did not get to me. And I guess I should feel okay about that, right? Like, not connecting with it as much that like Poke, I just remember being interested in the song that I probably would still have to go back and back and back to get to that level, which makes sense. Um,
It probably does reward repeat listens more than I realized.
I
Um,
think I got that sense too. Like I was kind of thinking You don't just listen to this and you're like, what a banger album. Like this is more, it's intended to give time to.
Which is why I thought it made sense for this, is because to me it is an album that like over time has actually changed, and I see it differently than I did the first time I listened to it. And like the person I was when I loved The Modern Leper, that's not my favorite song on this album anymore. Like
Hmm.
I don't really get it as much as I used to. It's sonically it's good. It's doing that build thing that I like, but like it does sound a little whiny to me now. I'm like, all right, man, like we get it. Nobody loves you, you know? But like I was that person when I was
Yeah.
17. And that is why it is a thing that I can listen to the top of this album, I can listen to the end of it, and I can still see things that I like in it. And it kind of, in a way, grows with me a little bit. Like there are songs kind of getting into, if we want to go through tracks, I don't know when we should do this. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm getting excited. Um, let's take a step back before we talk about specific album
Yeah,
songs. We just talked about two of them,
please.
but others. There's also a separate part of this album, which is the lore of the band, the lore of the lead singer, and this album in their history.
Oh, I didn't know that. So, do you remember? I think I had looked this up. Was this their second or third?
This is their second. Yes, this is their second studio album.
Okay.
Like I said, 2008.
Hmm.
I heard it the first time 10 years later in 2018. That's the same year that the lead singer killed himself.
That is correct. I did, yeah.
The end of this album is the song
Yes, I did
Floating in the
see about
Fourth.
this. Yes. I just listened to that again today because I was like, this is, you got to listen to this song. Yep.
Do you want to take a guess where they found his body in 2018?
Well, not to poke fun at you, Rocco, but if you had looked in the shared media Google Doc,
Are you
so
serious?
I I forget what I think, with this, listened to the album a couple times, then thought, okay, let me do some research about this. Had seen that Scott Hutchinson passed away in 2018.
Look at that.
And then I think that just jogged some gears of, oh, my writer guy that I love. I swear he had mentioned this person, so on and so forth. So I kind of went
Holy
down.
hell.
There's a couple of articles, so I highly suggest you read those, of course.
Oh, wow. I'm
So
so excited about this. It's
for all
Hanif.
these listeners, it's my favorite writer, Hanif Abdurraqib, who
This
does
is fantastic.
um and there was an episode he has done a podcast. I don't know if it still exists. And I believe he had done an episode to Scott Hutchinson.
Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
so I learned about that, and he had obviously talked about the song and this, and I was like, okay, that's very just interesting. And so yeah, of course, like I'm coming into this, you're like, oh, you have to give, yeah, I don't know what the right word of it, but time for that song. Like when you go back and listen, you're like, okay, you have to respect like what's going on here. You can't just
Yeah.
like, okay, listen to this album. Um,
Which,
yeah.
to just spell it out, right? Like that song is about walking out your front door and jumping off a bridge. And that is what he did. He literally was found in the same river that, well, I guess they're not rivers, whatever they have in Scotland. They're called,
They don't have rivers in Scotland.
um, I'm sorry, they do have rivers in Scotland.
Whatever they have over there.
What is,
Um,
what is it called?
hmm, a firth.
Is it a firth? So it's
Or
the
I guess I
fourth
thought,
firth.
oh, I see.
The name of the firth is the fourth, which is super confusing, but that is the name of it. Floating in the Fourth is what it's called.
And I
That's where they found
believe,
his body.
does that song actually end? Is it something along the lines of like, oh, I'll give it another day? Is that something,
He
right? What
literally
is,
says, I think I'll save suicide for another day.
yeah.
He wrote that in 2008. Well, he might have wrote it before then, but wrote that in 2008, 10 years later. And he did. Like that's so this is both a heartbreaking, it is just a heartbreaking song,
Yeah, yeah.
but it is also to me kind of an amazing song in other ways, in the sense that like that was true for 10 years. Like this guy was suffering
Mhm.
for 10 years. And he did give it another go, and he did make three more albums, and he did go and he did all these shows, and he had these like this album, even though it's their second album, was the one that put them on the map, and it's what
Mhm.
gave them a fan base, and he had that whole decade of like now people understand the lore of Frightened Rabbit, right? And then he just, yeah, I guess he just couldn't do it anymore, right? And it's like I can't save it for another day anymore. And to me, that story and the story of everything that happened after that, of all the outpouring of support for like all the different artists that he worked with, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there were like 7 or 8 different like tribute albums that were made for this
Yeah, I
guy.
think I had stumbled across that too. Yeah.
Like I find all of that, like yes, it's terrible that he killed himself, but I find all of this stuff about like look, everybody dies, right? And you have all this stuff around you as a person, and this guy made this community of people that like loved
Hmm.
him, and it's a shame that he didn't, I guess, didn't realize it. But it all kind of feeds into the lore of why this album is so great, is because it's just like a man who's sort of he really was feeling all of this pain. He really did live with it and as for as long as he could. He made a lot of great stuff out of it. And now we all collectively have this thing that we can kind of go back to at any time and relive and re-understand like that history. And it's just like, yeah, you wouldn't know that if you just heard this album, right? But I think that's what makes it, again, one of those things to me that like over time has become a more and more important album is like over time there's just more you think more about the context of how it was made and what happened and yeah, I don't know that it's I know it's tragic, but it also feels kind of beautiful to me, like what this thing represents, I
Hmm.
guess.
And does it vary, you know, the lore more? Like this album is one of the more, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Maybe like more important or very distinct in this kind of lore looking back. Like there aren't as many other moments in other albums where like, oh, okay, this is really representing what Scott Hutchinson was thinking, feeling, going through.
I think like I am not the biggest Frightened Rabbit fan in the world. I
Hmm.
don't know their other albums that well. I think they're all pretty dark. I think they all have a tortured narrative thing going on with them. I think there's a lot of allusions to drinking problems and stuff like that in
Yeah, yeah.
later work. This one is a lot more, I think, just pure. Like it's just pure like
Sadness.
heartbreak. Yeah,
Okay.
like um and I think that's why it has become like the I think it's sort of their set piece album
Hmm.
in among the fans of Fighting Rabbit. Um but
So
yeah, I don't know.
you listened to it first in 2018. Was it
I listened
after?
front to back the first time in 2018. I've heard songs before. Monitor Leper, I heard, I think Good Arms versus Bad Arms, I've heard before. Like I've gotten snippets of it in the
Yeah.
past. Never really fully understood. Like I knew nothing about the album and I didn't know anything about the band. It was just one of those things where it was like YouTube thinks you should listen to this or whatever. Um, but that was 2018 was when and I loved it immediately. Like it did grab me
Hmm.
immediately and I went like, "Oh, I love this album is awesome." And it's mostly because there are those first couple tracks like musically to me are very good even without the narrative and without the lyrics, and I just think it's like it's doing cool stuff. There's a lot. One of the things that I wrote about this when I was listening and taking notes myself is like narratively, lyrically, this album is like pretty dark and it's a bummer. But when you if you took the words out and you just listened to the instrumentation, like 80% of it is like pretty high energy. It's pretty like
Hmm.
it has a very steady, all of the songs are moving forward. They're all doing this, right? They're all kind of like marching in a way. That's what they sound like to me. Except for a few at the very end, which are actually my least favorite.
The ones that I
Um,
liked
for
for
that
some
reason. Yeah,
reason.
like the one that you mentioned, Keep Yourself Warm, which is if you pull that Spotify page back up in their top five of all their
Yes,
songs,
it was. Yeah, it was there.
that's the one that I would just straight up cut. I'd be like, you could save 5 minutes on this album right now. Just
See,
cut
it's
it
funny
out.
because I think listening to it the first time, that was the only song that stood out.
Incredible. Incredible to me.
Like,
Can't believe it.
I can picture where I was listening to it on the street, like almost at Giant Eagle, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is the song. I'm like, and and I
I
think
skip it all the time.
but I think that's what like really has gotten me thinking about, okay, sorry, I don't want to derail it too much. But
We don't
wait,
have
to
a
go
plan.
back to 2018 piece, I'm most curious, was it after he had passed away that you learned about that?
This is
Okay,
what's
I was
crazy.
right,
I
like that's
listened to
months
this.
away.
Yeah, I listened to this, I want to say in like the early part of the year, January, February, March, somewhere in there. It was cold the first time I listened to it. And I was like, literally in May is when he killed himself. And so I was like into it. I was like, I am a new fan of this band. I love this band.
Wow.
And then I found out like I'm on their subreddit or whatever, and I'm like, what? Like it honestly was shocked. That was another part of it for me where it was just like I can't believe the timing of this, right? Like to think you had a band where you're looking forward to going to their shows and you're
Right,
looking
right,
forward to
right.
the next albums and then that's just gone. And before you even got a chance to go through the whole back catalog, um, was kind of a head trip for me. But it made me like this album even more
Yeah, it makes sense. Like
because
the
of the end of it and like floating in the forest. And like to me, it really stood out as like you know, this probably has the rawest emotions that he's written
Hmm,
about,
I
and
see.
that's why I've liked it. So,
And just a little, okay, context, 2018, you're in Portland at this stage?
no, that was my first
Oh, this
full
is when
year in
you,
North Carolina.
yeah, you had just moved to North Carolina. Okay, okay, that's
Yep.
interesting.
So
No.
contextually, my life was kind of it was just like a lot was new,
Yeah.
and it felt like it felt like a lot was just kind of unsettled, and it was at that time. And so I first listened to a lot of these songs with that lens of just like an unsettled person, which is who the narrator is.
Right.
So yeah, it worked for me.
No, it makes a lot because I think that's something, even as I was making a short little list, like the life aspects are going to be an important part of what we talk about. And I think, even why you brought up this idea in the beginning to talk about these albums that are not just like, oh, they just came out. It's more about,
Right.
yeah,
I mean,
but
I've lived with this thing. Yeah.
right, like that's a very different thing than, oh yeah, listen to a couple songs. This one's a banger. This one I
Which
skipped.
is it's why I wanted to start with your thoughts because it's like I can't hear this for the first
I
time again,
know. Yeah, that's a poof.
right? Like I put this on and I see 8 years of my life play when I listen to this album. And that's just the way it is forever now. And
Hmm.
it's just that number is just going to grow if I keep listening to it. But yeah, I'm not surprised that you didn't feel something immediately about it, but it's interesting to me to hear your like the way you initially thought about it.
Yeah, and I'm. It's not one that I will think to go back to, but I think as songs, kind of like what you were saying, like they randomly come up. I'm shuffling something, or you have Smart Shuffle on or whatever that is kind of feeding some stuff. It comes up. Like I wonder, familiarity, I think plays a big role in when I gravitate towards songs. So I think like that might give it a different lens. Does it make sense?
Meaning you need to be familiar.
I think that's okay. So that was kind of what I was going to mention earlier and I was talking about this with someone today. I'm fascinated by the fact that, so for all the listeners out there, you have quantified your music. I guess taste isn't the right word, but like what gravitates you towards a song is that you need to be able to hear the room that it's in.
That's like my one-liner, yeah.
But I think that's amazing because so it came up today. I asked about Frightened Rabbit. We were talking about something, and he had said he has to feel as though this piece of music needed to be made,
Whoa.
right?
That's a high bar.
It's a high bar. That's a good point. But what I love about this, and maybe don't love, but it's frustrating about this, I have no idea what mine is. Like that's what and
What?
so I think it's interesting. Like what I'm very excited about through this process is to get some clarity on that. Some things that have come up, I've thought about like it has to be dynamic because I think that was something that I didn't sense in this album. To me, it did kind
It's
of
not very dynamic.
feel, yeah, it felt like, if this is the band of dynamic, whatever, dynamicism in a song, it was like really in this band the whole time,
I
right?
agree with that. Yeah.
Um, I think that's something that comes up. You mentioned tension, or not in these words, but I'd heard other people talk about songs as like tension and release. I think that
Build and release.
often,
Yeah.
yeah, like that. that plays a big part. Because I think that's what I felt with Keep Yourself Warm, that it really was kind of
Really?
growing more.
It's interesting to me. To me, that's one of the more samey songs.
Hmm.
I know a lot of them are samey. Like I actually completely know what you mean by saying like there what it's not there's not a big range
Yeah.
of sounds. Like this album sounds like this album the whole time.
Right. And I wonder, like, these are the things I don't know. Is that a production thing? Is it the actual song? Or there's probably so many factors, but okay, I'm
I
glad you.
think we could have qualified people talk about that, but we don't know those people.
It's okay.
So
Um, yeah, so my goal through that's our challenge through this whole process is we have to figure out what mine,
to
like
figure out
why
what
I
your
like.
one-liner is
Yeah, what
about
do I
how
like about a song?
a song or an album, I guess a song passes a test
Because
of
there's
some
what,
sort.
like a couple weeks ago, this song popped up, and I was like, "This is so outside of my usual wheelhouse," but like, I'm really digging this song for some reason. Like, and I
But
don't know what it is about it.
do you want to share the song?
Oh yeah, what's it called? I think it is called The Search, by NP is his name. NF.
What? That's not a thing. It's not a real thing.
I
The
can send it to you.
Search.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's. I really
I'm
like it.
listening to this like as soon as we're done with this, and I
Yeah,
can tell
good. No,
from the way
please.
he's dancing in the thumbnail that this is ridiculous.
Exactly. Like, as I'm listening, I'm like, this is kind of a caricature of something. But that's like, I distinctly remember maybe it must have been right after you had mentioned this idea because, music was on my mind that I had that thought. Anywho, I don't want to derail this too much.
Let's get into I know you don't have the memory of the tracks as well, so pull
No,
up your
definitely not.
Spotify
Oh, yeah, please. I'm happy to.
so that you can see them.
Oh, that's my
Let's
last
just kind
song.
of Modern Girl by Bleachers, great song. Great
Well, that's
song.
okay. In this conversation with this guy today about music, he was like, "That's me and my kids. We jam out to that song."
It's a great song. I fully on board with it. So we already talked about the Modern Love ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'll feel better. I think this is narratively an important song, but again, very samey. Doesn't do a whole lot of really interesting stuff. But it is sort of what I like about this song in the album is it's the first time that like it starts off with him. The end of this is like this is the last song I'll write about you is what he says, and it's
Hmm.
like that's hilarious because there's 12 more after this. Right. So it paints again, it does this narrative. Like one of the things I like about these songs is each one is its own narrative, but they also fit into a larger narrative of
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
here's a guy at the beginning who's like, I'm over this already on track two. And then he's like, but I have nine more things to say, which I think is kind of funny and like also exactly how real life works.
Hmm.
Right. Um, so I don't know. Musically, it's still very upbeat to me. It still feels like if you took away the lyrics, you would be listening to a song that you would think is very positive, actually. But
Yeah, I
turns
can
out,
vaguely
kind of
remember like
sad.
a kind of a descending into the album, like a just
It does.
softly. So yeah, yeah,
I I want to present this idea to you when we're done your screen sharing, which is to graph an album.
that's a really good idea. I really love that idea.
And I have a graph for this album
I think it
that
asymptotically approaches zero. Maybe
what?
not the end. I forget the ending. Anywho, but no, that's a great idea. I really love that idea because okay, continue.
Yeah.
I feel better.
Um, Anything on this list that jumps out to you that you remember? You said good arms versus bad arms.
Yeah, that I think that might have been in listen two, I'm gonna guess. Because it's just looking at my notes and the timings.
This is
Yeah, at the
my
at the end of my notes, I say maybe I can get behind Keep Yourself Warm and Poke too. And then second listen, I wrote Good Arms and Bad Arms and Poke.
okay. So Poke came up
Um,
twice, which is cool. This is the I think of it as the cowboy song on this album. It's like it has like a slide guitar. It's like super mel. I don't know what it's about either. I have no idea what good arms versus bad arms means. But there's like this motif of arm's length at it, which again, bigger narrative is a guy who is like, he thinks he's figured it out and I'm going to keep this relationship at arm's length. But you're still on track three, bro. Like you're not there yet. right? That's sort of how I think about these like first couple of songs is like a dude who's like got a big head about this. And he almost doesn't know the pain that he's feeling later on.
Hmm. Okay. Wow, you really got into this, Rocco. Good for you. Yeah.
It's again nearly a decade of living with this album and listening to it.
On that
Um,
note, though, so I'm kind of curious, if you're going to engage with this album, how are you doing? Like, are you actively, do you put on the whole album? Are you kind of picking out songs
Usually,
here and there? Really? Okay, so you'll kind of
yeah.
specifically say, oh, I'm into listening to this whole album. You'll just throw it on.
I'll yeah, I'll just throw it on. I'll
Okay.
tell you the ones I'll skip. We're not
Okay.
there yet. Fast Blood, like sonically, best song. If you just forget about the words and it's just like this song rocks. It really does. Pretty plugged
I
in.
don't think the word rock came up at all when I was listening to this
The
whole
song rocks. You got to listen to it again. It rips. Um, it is also the first time, and this is one of my favorite things, where you hear the name of the album in the song.
album.
It's the only time it happens. They say
Never
it
would have
once.
noticed.
Yep. He like he really croons it. It's like a really whiny delivery, but he says the midnight organ fight,
That does feel like
which
an Easter egg. Yeah, I like that. That's fun.
any guess what the midnight organ fight means?
The midnight organ fight. Having sex in the middle of the night?
Yeah, you got it.
Crushed it.
That's literally what, and I think that's what Fast Blood is about, is like it's a very like visceral song. Anyway, keep on moving. These two right here,
Skippers.
these are skippers. And narratively, I don't know what they're about. Like
Hmm.
they actually sound kind of happy to me. They're like after this 4 song run of like this dude is really not over this person.
I vaguely remember old fashioned.
It's like, hey, do you want to go dance with me kind of song? It
Hmm.
almost sounds like a barnyard, like a country
Footloose.
song or
Like
something.
Footloose.
Yeah, not a fan. Don't know what it's doing here.
Okay.
Twist, similar. I, doesn't feel narratively right to me. These are skippers. This is your first, what do they call these? Interludes? Bright Pink Bookwork?
Yeah, I always like, do you ever get the sense of like what the purpose of these kinds of songs is?
I would love to talk about what the purpose of these kinds of songs is. Because I love this song.
It's a minute 12, Rocco. You
I
forgot about it
know.
by the time it happens. There were some like the first time I'm listening, I'm like, are we on a new song? Is this still going? What's going on here?
Yeah. I
Okay.
For one thing, I think they're just like an A side, B side distinction. And this literally is the midway point of the album.
Really? Okay. Okay. No, that's really, yeah, you're right. There must be some historical reason for that. Okay.
I think it's just like how a lot of people structure albums is they
Hmm.
think about it in that way. It's like this
Okay.
is the end of
Okay.
side A. But also
Does the album turn for you in
it
this way?
starts to sound a
Yeah.
little different after this
Okay.
song.
Okay.
And one of the things that is introduced in Bright Pink Bookmark is like a chorus thing going on. You'll hear like a almost like an angelic chorus line in this 1 minute and 12 seconds that appears again in other songs. I think primarily in Floating in the Fourth and then the final song.
Wow.
And it just sort of gives it like a different feel to me. I think it's a little bit in Head Rolls Off too, which I think is my now as a 32-year-old adult, my favorite song is Head Rolls Off.
Do those bleed into each other?
Yes, they do.
Okay. I think I
So
kind of I can okay. I'm a
yeah,
big fan of that for some reason. I don't know why that always tickles me. Like I just love it when I feel
seven,
like
8 might as well be one song.
yeah. When songs do that, I'm always like, "Pff, this album makes so much sense. Like I don't know, it
They thought
immediately makes
about it.
yeah, like I just love it. Anyhow. Okay.
Yeah, great song. I don't really know how Head Rolls Off fits into the narrative of this album because it's actually really a hopeful song. That's where Tiny Changes comes from, where he talks about making tiny changes to Earth. And as, again, a 32-year-old man who feels like that is the best you can do in life,
Hmm.
I like this song a
Wow,
lot.
you're really getting a lot out of this. So good for you, Rock. Okay.
Backwards Walk was probably the stand up for me the first time I listened to this album all the way through. It's kind of a cheap song, I think. Like
Hmm.
ultimately, it's not a whole lot of depth here, but it is like kind of fun. Um, I don't know. That was the one that stood out to me like in 2018 when I listened to this front to back, which is funny now. I kind of think like it's almost kind of corny now that I listen to it. I'm like, this is like a goofy ass song. I don't know what track 10 is about. Skip, save the 5 minutes, garbage.
What do you mean? It's about or this person hooking up with someone else.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that wasn't fun.
No, I
Okay,
think it's about the other person, right? There's
tell me
something keep
more.
yourself warm
You
by
know, you have more
fucking.
to say about this than I do.
There's more than loving someone, more than fucking someone to. It takes more than fucking someone to keep yourself warm.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, it could be self. I really interpreted it as the other person. Like he had,
he was saying it to them.
yeah, like seeing like, oh, you hooked up with this person or we're with this person after me.
Oh,
Like it's gonna take more than that
never thought of it that way.
to to feel okay.
I thought it was him talking to himself, like, yeah, doofus. Of course you still feel like
No,
shit.
I bet that's probably the actual answer. But yeah, that is interesting.
Why? I don't know. I'm actually kind of convinced that you're right about it. But the only reason I think that's not true
Yeah.
is because this isn't a scornful album. It's not a fuck you album.
Okay. I like that thought.
It's much more an inward looking, like, I'm the fuck up album. Like, that's literally how it starts out, is like, I'm the fuck up.
Yeah. No, and I
Um,
think like, having now learned more about him and his life and that, I would like to note my favorite song is the one that is the most popular. So I was right.
I, I, this is where I'm happy to like have these conversations because I do feel like an alien sometimes when I see
The
like the most
counts.
popular. I'm like, what? These are all my least favorite songs, right? I don't know how it happens.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just feeding us fake data. Honestly, who knows? Like this is probably all made up numbers.
Spotify, I've never seen that number change. I know that more
That's a
people
really
listen
good
to it.
point. Like, shouldn't it update? Like, if I hit refresh right now, shouldn't it be different?
Should we find out? Does it?
Well, I don't know. You can't refresh like the app. I don't know. You know what
Oh,
I
you're
mean?
in the app.
I'm
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
app. Yeah, yeah. Anywho,
What's going on the right side there?
that's well, I was listening to this song, which I really do love. And it's all about her, like women being forced into these just like being labor for men. So I'm sure she's eating like a man's heart or something, is my guess. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like I'm
Jesus.
gonna guess. I don't know though.
That's really
Um,
hardcore, dude.
this song really hits for me. Anyhow,
Also, that's the UK version of labor with the
it
U.
is. So I'd never really thought about that.
Sorry.
But I don't know how to exit. Like, there's no way to just hit like boop, go away. Like, we're stuck with this. Okay.
We're looking at this woman eating a heart.
Yep. Yep. So we're just stuck with that. Okay. Oh, I'm making this embarrassing. Okay. So skip that one. Extra
Um,
super
this is
very.
another interlude, not a whole lot going on here,
Oh
although
yeah. Okay.
the choral stuff comes back. Chorus stuff comes back. Poke, killer song. Love this song. So I'm glad it stood out to you.
And I remember being kind of surprised because it's long. Like I was at the gym today and this song was on. And I was like, okay, I'm still into it.
No way.
Well, what happened was, I think I was thinking back about the album and I was like, oh shit, I should probably prep a little bit.
It's super slow. I could not imagine that as a gym
I
song.
think I might be the alien in terms of what I listen to in the gym,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like I'm totally cool with like a slow banger, you know?
Which this is one.
Yeah, like this very much. But it's funny because I don't know the songs well enough that I can't even be like, oh, but it does build. But all I remember now, kind of thinking back on these songs, is what it evoked in me. And to me, Poke did, like, I very felt forward, like you were saying,
I
and a
don't
build. So I'm curious to now go back and
I
listen
think you
to
need to
it.
go back. I don't remember it being a buildy kind of
Okay.
song. It's very acoustic and it stays acoustic, I think,
Okay.
the whole time. But I
But they,
actually don't have good notes on this one.
but that's the one too. I wonder, like, if I think it's building, like, what is it about it that is making me feel like it's
I
building?
think you gotta pull this one apart a little bit for
Oh, I'm
sure.
so excited to go back to these songs now that you've spoken
Oh,
about.
good. I'm happy
And
to
I
hear that.
plan to because I think like the meaning of stuff is going to matter a lot. So to just have some thoughts, maybe it's,
Context and
yeah, context or just even like I don't dissect songs in this way at all. I don't think I do generally. So like to have this little like you said, context added to it. It's like, okay, cool. Now I can see what I'm kind of supposed to get out of this, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
I
I'm
get
I'm
you.
excited for it.
I mentioned at the beginning, I don't normally do this. Like this is a super lyrical album,
Yeah. Yeah,
super
this is
narrative
not
album.
you.
So it lends itself to doing this better than a lot of songs that I like. I have albums that I listen to where I'm like, this just rips, and that's why I listen to it.
See, maybe that's how I feel about just
But
every song. Like I'm just like fucking into it. And I'm like, but why? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Anyhow.
yeah, Poke is great because I think it's the narrative end to this album, even though there's two songs after it. I think it's like we've wrapped up what we were talking about the relationship. And I think floating in the fourth is just like
Mm.
I'm a dude who is sad. And it kind of has nothing to do with that other shit I was
Oh,
talking about
interesting.
before.
Okay.
Like that's how I see it. I don't know if that's
Wow.
true or not. But to
I
me,
am
Poke is
surprised.
like the end.
Okay. I'm surprised it doesn't have more views, you know? Or listens.
But we just determined that this is bullshit, so
I don't know if we determined it, but and then who'd you kill now? I couldn't tell you anything about this song.
it's fun. You should listen to it again.
Okay.
There's nothing to really say about it, but it's a fun song. Yeah, that's the track by track. I don't know.
Hmm. It's fascinating.
Again, pretty tight 48 minutes for me. This is the shape that it takes. Wait, I have to send a request to share.
Multiple
Sorry,
projectors can share.
didn't know we were doing an autocratic Zoom room.
I wish I could just set it to I had allow. You should be able to. Oh, you could also just do the whiteboard. You could share the whiteboard
What do you mean
and
share
then
the
you can
whiteboard?
draw. So if you hit share, one of the options, oh, maybe not anymore. It used to be advanced. Oh, it's in it.
Well, I made a nice little
Oh, you already did this. You already
a
knew
paint
about.
a
Get
paint
out
window.
of where is this in Microsoft Paint?
Yes, I did it while we were talking at the first 20 minutes.
This looks like Chalk Zone.
I have
Where
this
the heck go?
theory. This is terrible, by the way, but I want your thoughts on it as a concept. I picture full-length albums like this. Like I have a chart in my head about the energy and the enjoyment that I'm getting out of the
Uh-huh.
album. And this is the shape of the album to me. Is like starts off banger, four great songs, starts to be like not so awesome, bottoms out at Keep Yourself Warm, and then it's like to the fucking moon after that, right? Like the last three songs are great. I don't think I this is not scaled properly, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the journey that you're on when you're listening to this song. And I think narratively it makes sense too. Like that's how I feel about the album. But I also kind of feel like that's what the guy's doing, right?
No, yeah, I agree. Because at the beginning, a relationship ends, you kind of have this like anger,
You're like,
fuck
I
you-ness in
got
the
it.
beginning, but
Yeah.
then you really get into the, oh fuck, like this is the saddest part. But
You bottom
then,
out.
you hope there is that turn of like, okay, like that acceptance of
And some
we're
people I
at it.
think would do this at the end because it's like, well, you killed yourself. But I just find something really hopeful about Floating in the Fourth. I love that song, even knowing that he threw himself off a bridge. It's still a really hopeful thing to me. There's a line where he says, um, take your life, give it a shake, gather up all your loose change. And I think about that
Hmm.
all the time as like when I feel stuck about something, take your life, give it a shake, gather up your loose change. He took it one way. I guess it didn't work. I don't know. But to me, it makes me feel like at any time, you can reevaluate yourself
Hmm.
and you can count your change and figure out where you're at. And I find that kind of like a hopeful thing.
I like it.
Anyway, that's my stupid graph.
No, I don't think it's stupid at all because I think, yeah, I visualize things like that all the time. Are you kidding me?
Well, you're mega
Um,
visual, so yeah.
Mega visual.
Rain Man visual.
I don't know.
Sorry.
No, yes, I'm curious to like, I'll go back through it. Yeah, I'm just not excited to go back. I hate to say
That's
it.
fine. But didn't you say you were just a moment ago?
I'm excited to go back individually and like, pick up a couple of songs that you had
Hmm.
really
Okay,
talked about. But like, I'm
that's
not
fair.
eager to go listen to that whole album again.
I was pretty sure that you weren't going to come on here and tell me that your life has changed. So I'm not. it's it's cool. I'm glad that Hanif Abdurraqib wrote about this guy,
Oh, I think you're
and
gonna really love that.
I'm
Or I
very
think there
excited to
were
read his.
two even. I forget. I'd found two. I forget.
Yeah, there's
I
two in
think
here.
one was on the anniversary or something. But no, it was like I like that, like you said, as sad as this is, like an awful thing, it's interesting to think about it, right? Like you have this song and then 10 years later, it's interesting to really
Yeah, he was
sad
living with that
to
for
think
10
about.
years.
Right. And I guess I think in that, and maybe you know better, like he was very open about that, I think, throughout, or no? I
I
think he
think so. I think
was.
he used to like talk about it a lot, and it was always kind of like in a jokey way.
Hmm.
But I think it's very clear, like even the people around him knew that it was never a joke. Like
Yeah.
because um when he did jump off the bridge, he like his brother was like panicking because he was like he's not in a good head state. Like he
Hmm.
knew something was going to happen
Yeah, yeah.
before they found out he was lost. So I don't know. I don't know a ton about the guy, but I I think you have to be this good of a songwriter because I think he's a great songwriter, even if you don't like his voice. You have to be a little bit messed up. You have to be a little bit damaged.
I
You have to,
disagree.
all right, I mean, tell me. Tell me why I'm wrong.
No, but like I
Because
like, or maybe I just don't want to think
think
that's the
about
case.
Beyonce, right? What's her best album?
All of them. What are you talking about?
Come on.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what
It's
you're saying.
Lemonade. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I'm not a
I see what
Beyonce
you're
fan,
saying.
but I think a lot of people
I
would
see
say
what you're saying.
that.
Well, like I mean, that one's definitely like talk about story, right? Like you live it through the whole thing, and you're like, oh shit, like
I'm not
yeah,
saying
I
she's
see.
messed up, but I'm saying you have to take pain. You have to take
Mm,
raw emotions, and that's what makes music. Is like because because you can't put this stuff in words, you had to make music out of it, and that's what everybody can connect
mm.
to.
I'm curious your thoughts. I believe that comes up a lot in the article. There's also a podcast I remember listening to years ago about this. They had talked about like, do you have to be the tortured artist? Like, so I
I
gotta
would
be careful
like
about that.
I'm with you. I would like to believe that
That's not the
people can
case.
live happy lives and be great artists, and I think some people can, but I think you have to like go through some stuff because otherwise it feels a little fake, right? Like I don't know.
No, I see what you mean, and I think it does. Or were we talking about this where there are certain artists and musicians that maybe I notice it the most with musicians, where the way they talk about their art is like you're saying, like, this is the only way that this could make sense, or it could come out, or be existing in the world as if I made this piece of music to process this event, think about this thing, or like, anyhow, fascinated by those people. I don't get it whatsoever. Like, I don't understand that. I don't have that like creative output in that
Yeah, I don't think I could make
way.
it for the record, but I understand why it helps people connect to it.
Yeah. Oh, wait, the listener connect to it, or
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it definitely does, right? Like, yeah, it adds a layer of meaning in the same way that you listen to this album for the first time when you're in that kind of headspace for some of it, right? Like, obviously not the whole album, but
Yeah.
yeah, just it's just layers of meaning.
It's like an onion. All right.
This got me thinking about a lot
Any
of
other
things.
final thoughts?
Um,
Give it a
oh,
rating. Give me a 5-star scale. No, we don't have to do this. Forget it. Never mind. Don't do that.
yeah, I don't think I agree. We should do that. It's funny, or not funny. You did make me think of. There's a song called Strange by Celeste that I really like that is that like there's just
Googling.
the choral kind of part is strangers to friends, friends into lovers, and strangers again. And it reminded me of when you were talking about the
Poke.
yeah, is that Poke? Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, yeah, anyhow, and honestly, like that song Yeah, I don't know. It's cool to like do this. I like this. It's getting me thinking about music in different ways.
Good.
It's a great
I'm
idea, Rocco.
excited for you to give me my assignment. Do you have
I know
any
I
thoughts
might
about what it's
change
going to
it
be?
because you had picked it originally and you wanted me to do the Black Keys album, which I think is still up in the air. Like air is
No,
definitely
I was saying that that could also be an album that I might pick.
I see.
Like, and it makes sense if we both wanted to talk about it, but maybe it doesn't make sense because it kind of ruins the conceit of this, which is one of us is kind of going in blind. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about
No,
like
but I
me
don't think
having a relationship to an album already.
no, I don't think the blindness is as much of a factor as one person drives the boat in the meaning to their lives and how it fits in their life. That's where, excuse me, I was more thinking about this overall.
Okay.
It was
And
like,
I
how does
don't,
this exist?
that one would work because it's like, I don't know if I think about it that way.
Hmm.
Like, this is like Brothers is kind of an album that just rips to me, you
It's
know?
it's
Um,
so good.
where did we have that document?
It's another tab in the shared media. Two birds, one stone.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll have to
But yeah,
think
you
of what
don't,
to pick. I'm also wondering, like, does it have to be one that I consistently listen to?
I think you can make this whatever you want, man.
Okay. You're right, there's no
I,
right
I
list.
was thinking about this as like, we're not ready to do songs that came out a year ago because we didn't have this idea a year ago. So we weren't thinking about albums that came out a year ago or at that time. So we're not ready to do like 2024 albums right now, basically. So
Oh, so
why
we're
not
kind of in a
go through the
holding pattern.
backlog?
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
We're
of
a bit
like
in a holding
things that
pattern.
just older than that are important to us for some reason that we still want to talk about, but aren't really like on the schedule of when we have an enormous following in 2 years. They're going to be on a different schedule. You know what I mean?
I get it. Okay, that's helpful to know that that's
Yeah.
still the end goal we're going towards. All right, I like it.
Yeah.
Hi, Max. Max, you were sleeping so. Okay. Um, this is great. No, this is honestly love just talking about music. Gets me thinking a lot about it. Great work, Rocco.
Really good work. I will try to add things to the shared media. I can't
That's
believe
okay.
you already did the video.
I did it like the day of. I was at
It was
work
like a
bored.
20 minute. Did you get a notification when I added it?
No, I think I was just checking it and I was like, I don't know, I get bored at
Well,
work a lot. I got nothing going on.
jeez, I'm in the opposite situation as you
Yeah,
right
so
now.
you take your
I
time. But you'll really like those articles, and it was cool even in that time of like, I think I learned about this a week ago. Like that changed the way I go back and listen to the album and think about
You're
it.
gonna love this album.